Andy, I guess we're going to find out what life after 50 is all about, Andy.
Yeah, Dave. Major milestone to get to celebrate with you here on a Friday, Men of a Certain X. Dave, on behalf of all of America, on behalf of my family, on behalf of the I don't know, the millions of X-Head listeners, I don't know, happy birthday to you from all of us. We are happy for you to celebrate this major milestone. Hey, you hit 50. That's a big one because like the next like big one is like 75, So I mean you've hit
Yeah.
like a major milestone. So happy I would serenade you, but nobody wants that this early in the morning. So happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, let's skip the serenade. I think we can America appreciates your gesture, Andy, but we're okay. It is like it is crazy because I think we had this discussion earlier when my son was getting married and such.
Yeah.
Like 50 always seemed so like it seemed old. Like it seemed like you should be winding your life down, but
Yeah.
now it's like do I have to be the cool 50-year-old? Do I have to be the hipster 50-year-old? No, fuck that. Like my body aches. I don't need to have six-pack abs as a
Yeah.
50-year-old.
Yeah.
I should be comfortable with that. I still want to be healthy and stuff, but at the same time, Andy, it's like I feel mentally, I feel like I get Biden, right? I feel sharp as a tack, but my body just doesn't respond the same way. So,
I think, I remember my mother telling me that growing up that, she never felt her age, right? Because I don't think we do. We never think of ourselves as older, right? We still feel fine. We're still enjoying ourselves. But yeah, our bodies definitely don't carry as well as they used to at times. But you know what? I mean, I think just owning it, celebrating it, I mean, as I get older and I look at kids that are younger, like I'll tell you a funny story, Dave, actually. I'll tell you a funny story since you brought it up. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday and it was screwed up from the beginning. I got there, I had to fill out paperwork and ahead of time when I got there, none of that paperwork mattered. They're like, "Oh, we didn't update the app, so you have to do it again." I was like, "Okay, so you just wasted, 20 minutes of my time before I got here. Thank you very much." Had to wait a half hour, longer than I was supposed to for my appointment, which I was already irritated, right? Respect my time. But when I was in the office waiting, the doctor came in. I would say he was maybe 35, Dave. And I'll tell you
yeah.
honestly, like as soon as he came in, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know what I mean? I want my doctor to be older than me. I want an old doctor, right? I
Yeah.
want this. I want an old man, and I don't want somebody my age or younger. What does he know? So as soon as he started talking, and he was not on target, right? I mean, he opened his mouth, and I was like, this guy's full of shit. But I was like, as a young guy, like I've got no tolerance for you, right? I want an old doctor. You gotta be older than me. And I look at 20-year-olds, look at 35-year-olds. I'm like, these guys are kids, and I don't want to be there. You know, I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the age I am. I'm excited about where we are in life. There's a time to be 20, there's a time to be 30. I'm grateful to be approaching the 50, and you hit that milestone. Like we're well seasoned pieces of meat, Dave. You know what I mean? Like happy birthday. You should own it. You're happy. Good for you.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a very relatable story because we had a neighborhood party like thing a couple of weeks ago, and there's these clusters like these late 20s, early 30s families, and I remember being there, right? I remember, but I look at them like, God bless, God, fuck's sake, I don't want to be there,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. With their yeah, it's a totally different world. It's a totally different world.
It is a different world and different environment. God bless, I had the same thing that my doctor, he's more competent. I actually like my doctor, but he is younger. I mean, he is in his probably low 30s and I'm just sitting there like, dude, you have no idea. Like my son is almost as old as you
Yeah,
are.
yeah, exactly. Like there's few things I care about age really. I mean, like I can respect a young professional and their opinion and their expertise, but something about the medical field. I mean, like in particular, I'm like you just got a medical school, right? Like when you're
Yeah.
20 and you're looking at a 35-year-old doctor, like, oh yeah, tell me what's wrong, doctor. When you're 50 and looking at a 35-year-old doctor, you're like, do you even know how to tie your own shoes, kid? Get the fuck out of here. Bring me an old man. You know what I mean? No, you can't stick your finger up my butt. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So
All right then. All right, Andy. We'll get into that thing. All right then. Not that there's anything wrong with that,
How's
Andy.
anything wrong with that?
So, all right, Andy, let's get into our topics on this Friday, my birthday. I think we should start with NFL, Andy.
Okay, all right. It's a good place to
We have,
start.
you said this on Wednesday. This is your favorite weekend.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Like next weekend is Championship Sunday, and yeah, that's great, but that's only two games,
Yeah,
and you're at the end, you're like, ugh. But here we got two games each day.
yeah.
It's going to be an exciting. There's exciting matchups, I feel, Andy. And so let's go through these games here, and let's talk about the games on Saturday. I mean, your game is the later game on Saturday. Do you want to start there with how are you feeling about your team?
Dave, I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be a good game. I think like the Lions. I think last I saw they're like a 10-point favorite to win. I know Dan Campbell's not playing that game. I know he's telling the Lions like take this team seriously. I know Washington's just like barely won their last few games, even though they've won them. But they're a dangerous team, right? Dan Quinn showed he's willing to go for it on fourth down. He's going to try and win the football game. And even though everybody's got nothing to lose in the playoffs, so you go all out, of course, there's something about an upstart team, right, that wasn't supposed to win. They go into Tampa, rookie quarterback, they get the win. They're excited, they're confident, they think they can do anything, and they're playing on house money. They've got nothing to lose. If they go and get blown out by Detroit because they take some chances, nobody cares. Nobody expects Washington to win this game. Like they can do whatever the hell they want, and they can throw some wild plays out there, and they could connect, right? They could surprise. A dangerous team. I think it's a dangerous team. So Detroit should win the game. I'm confident they will win the game. I feel good about it. It's going to be a fun game. It's why it's Saturday night, so all of America can watch and celebrate. But I think Washington's going to be in the game. And I'll tell you, Dave, you might recall this. Some of our listeners might recall this. When I was a new Lions fan, right, only maybe a year in, the Lions made it to the NFC Championship to play Washington in the Mike Utley year. And the season started out, first game of the year, Washington smashed Detroit, NFC Championship. They beat them by even more. It's like 45 to
Yeah.
3, or maybe it might have even been a shutout in the championship. I can't recall right now, but it was brutal. So, even though that was 30 years ago now, like I'm looking for a little vengeance here for the Lions. Like I'd love to see the Lions win like 56 to 3, or something insane. Probably not going to happen, but like I want Detroit to go out and just like tell the NFL we're the number one team in the NFL and win this game.
Yeah, I mean I definitely agree. I think the Lions should win this game, but the Commanders have like I thought Tampa should have won last game
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
They just kind of hang around and they do the things that they do. So it's going to be an exciting game. I think Jaden Daniels, this is a great, again, he's been in the spotlight all year. He deserves all the
yeah.
accolades. He's more mature. It'll be fun to watch this game. So let's see how that game's on a Saturday night. Saturday afternoon, though, Andy, the other number one seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, play the Texans. And again, the Texans surprisingly beat the Chargers.
Yeah.
Just and then they go and then now they play the number one seed Chiefs. The Chiefs are rested. The Chiefs have been playing better. This is a danger. I I think the Chiefs win this one comfortably too. So it's playoff time for the Chiefs. Let's see if they can three-peat.
Yeah, so like they again, like the Lions, like they should win, but the Texans could win. I think it's funny that like year after year, America doesn't care about the Texans in the playoffs. Like they're always the first game on Saturday. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares about this game. Either it's like everybody expects the Chiefs to win, and they should. But like reality is like even the Chiefs had a great record, they just didn't like dominate their games, right? And we've seen Texas like while they can be mediocre, they can not play that well. They also can turn it up on defense. They also can put up points. And again, the best about the NFL, any given Sunday, it's one game. If you can just go out there and ball for 60 minutes, you can win. And I'm not writing the Houston Texans off. I think they could pull an upset here. I don't think it would shock the world if they did, and I think it could be a fun game. So, like I said, best weekend in football because they're just such good games. So I'm excited about this one too.
Yeah, I hope these are better games than last week. That is definitely for sure. So, okay, Andy, let's go to Sunday morning, Sunday mid-afternoon. This is a 3 o'clock game. The Rams versus the Eagles. The Rams played great football last weekend. They beat up on God, now I can't even remember who they put. They
The
beat up on
Vikings, the poor
Minnesota on
Vikings,
Monday.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, on Monday. Um, I think the Eagles win this one comfortably. I like the Rams. I think what um, what the Eagles are going to do to Matt Stafford, and then I think what the Eagles can do on offense with Saquon Barkley and even a underperforming Jalen Hurts. I think this Eagles team wins this one comfortably, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, Sean McVay puts together a good game plan, so anything can
Yeah.
happen, like you said.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Eagles should win. I think the Eagles are the better team. But again, Los Angeles has some talent. They've got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Matt Stafford. They've got some powerful offensive weapons. They can cause problems. I don't know if they can stop the Eagles' offense. Will Jalen Hurts come out there and play the way he can play, or is he still going to be a little bit unsettled? We'll see. Not ruling out an upset at all, although I think the Eagles are playing very good football and should win this game.
All right, Andy. Then the late game. I think the best game of the weekend is the last game of the weekend. Ravens at the Bills. 2 versus 3.
Yeah,
Go back to week 4, Andy. The Ravens smashed the Bills. The Bills were riding high. The Ravens were rebounding after an 0-2 start. Andy, the temperature on Sunday is going to be the high is 21, the low 13. There's snow in the forecast Saturday, but not Sunday. So there could be some stuff in and around. This is going to be a battle.
yeah,
This is going to be good foot. I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's going to be haymaker after haymaker on these teams. In the end, the Ravens running attack is going to be too much. I think Derrick Henry and Lamar, what they showed last week, almost 300 yards, 299. I think the Ravens win this one, but man, it's going to be a good one.
it's going to be a big game. I think it's the hardest one to like predict. It's two very good teams. The Ravens want to come in there and win. Like they really want to show that they're like that they can win football games. They brought in Derrick Henry for this playoff run. Like Lamar's playing top-notch football. He thinks he should be the MVP. He's hearing all the Josh Allen talk. I think they really want to go and win this game. Buffalo is very good.
Yeah.
Baltimore could get the win if they can contain Josh Allen and that offense, which I don't know if they will. I mean, this game could go either way. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I think one of these two teams could very well represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and they're playing really good football. I don't want to play either one of them.
Yeah.
Give me the Texans in the Super Bowl for Detroit if I can, but I think it's going to be a really good game.
If the Bills win, it's because Josh Allen was just he's going to have to make this team win
Yeah,
because I just don't think they have the same weapons as the Ravens do, and I think the Ravens are slightly better on defense. But with these type of quarterbacks, these generational quarterbacks, the Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allen's, like he can do it if
yeah.
anybody can. So I'm gonna be excited. This is gonna be blow after blow here. I hope I'm not let down.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be. If one of these two teams can come in and blow out the other team, then like that they're making a statement if they can do it. I
Yeah,
don't think they can do it. I think it's going to be, punch after punch, drive after drive. This could come down to who makes, the turnover mistakes, right? Can somebody get a pick, right? Can somebody force the ball out? That one, two turnovers could decide the whole game. And when you get to this level of play, really that one mistake can cost you everything, as it did in Tampa, as it did in Tampa.
yeah. All right, Andy. So it'll be exciting to see how this plays out. So let's turn now to politics, Andy. I know your favorite subject, but
Yeah,
obviously Monday's inauguration day. It's also Martin Luther King birthday. We're potting on Monday. We should be potting on Monday, I think. Andy,
yeah,
are we potting? Is breaking news? We're going to pot?
yeah. We're breaking news, breaking news, breaking news.
Okay, breaking news. All right, so the Biden legacy. Let's talk about the Biden legacy. You know, it comes in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic,
Yeah,
in the midst of all the chaos that was the first Trump presidency. Doesn't, normalizes, I think, in a lot of respects, the office again. But it's ups and downs, Andy. It's been for some of the good, there's always been some of the bad.
yeah.
And so let's just start with that question, Andy. What's your first, like when you think the Biden legacy, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is Ukraine, right? That's the
Yeah.
first thing I think about. I think his unwavering, total commitment to Ukraine, and not just to Ukraine, but to oppose, the antics of Vladimir Putin. He has been firm and steady and unwavering, and I think that's a great credit to him in this moment because I don't know that everybody would have had that fortitude, and I mean, he has never paused. I mean, to the last minute, providing more support to Ukraine in word and in support, and he's done it while keeping America out of the war, right? We're not, there aren't troops on the ground. We're not suggesting to put troops on the ground. He's just supporting our allies, right? And I think that's probably his greatest credit is like standing in the face of an aggressive, Vladimir Putin and saying no, like this is not acceptable behavior. And I think that's a great credit to him.
Yeah. Andy, I think been a big piece. And again, I do like we talked about American leadership here. Like this is an example of American leadership. I don't believe we need to be the world's policeman,
Yeah,
but there are conflicts that I think are really important for us to be in. And this is one of them. And for all those who are against this, look, I hear what you're saying. You want the focus to be on when America is struggling. You want but the two are not mutually exclusive. And I think we just need to fully understand that. Andy, one of the things that comes to my mind when I think of Biden is this infrastructure bill
hmm,
that they put into place a couple years back. Republicans were vehemently against it. And ironically enough, when the money started flowing into their communities and neighborhoods, they were right on the front saying, "Look what I got you."
yeah, yeah,
But I do feel like at a time when America's trying to rebound from the pandemic, when there's a lot of struggles to go, this infrastructure bill is going to be a lasting impact. Like our infrastructure is decaying, and this is a great way to get jobs out there, to repair that infrastructure. Some of these highways, Andy,
yeah,
they're part of the original the interstate bill was back in the 50s, Andy. And some of
yeah.
that stuff hasn't been repaired since then. And so I think that's one of the things that come to mind as a positive for thing. Now, if we look at some of the negatives, that's a different story. But I think that's a lasting legacy for Biden here.
Yeah, so some of our infrastructure does need repair, whether it's roads, some of our airports. Like America is an amazing country. Our infrastructure doesn't necessarily reflect our wealth and our success and our where we are. So I agree. I pause with some of these massive spending bills because I think there's so
Yeah.
much of a disaster in them. So I'm mixed on it, but I appreciate the spirit of it, and it has
Yeah.
done some good funding. So I get that, but I think the infrastructure bill building America up in different ways. I say sort of what goes along with that to me, and maybe the other thing that I think is really unappreciated about these last 4 years is the normalcy and overall
Mhm.
success. Like for all the bitching and whining that Americans love to do, like for most Americans, like yeah, insurance can be better. Yeah, there's a world at war. You know what? Like life is pretty good. Like for
Yeah.
most Americans right now, most Americans that want to work are working, right? Most people have comfort in their lives, right? We all have, our phones and our streaming. Like people are complaining about living in paycheck to paycheck, but they're getting, DoorDash delivered and we're
Yeah.
having all these like our wealth and health is like it's very good right now. And I think like that wasn't fully appreciated. With Trump campaigning for the last 4 years, telling us what a third world nation and disaster America is, I think people sort of like accepted that to a certain extent. Like, yeah, things are fucked up. Egg prices are too high. We came out of the pandemic and like life is pretty good for most Americans. That's not to say that it's perfect. It's not to say it couldn't be better. It's not to say there aren't people that are genuinely struggling. Like, yes, 100%. But like America is doing well. And I think people like have failed to appreciate that, right? Biden brought in a level of normalcy and the country is doing generally well. And I think that's been largely missed because we've heard so much about how awful America is. It's not, Dave. It's not. America is fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I definitely think that when you really look back and peel it back, I mean, people have been largely successful. I know inflation, look, I think one of the things with Biden, I wish they would have taken a little bit more proactive actions with inflation. I get why it was the way it was. I think there could have been some opportunities for to be a little bit more connected earlier. I think they were they kind of stiff-armed it initially and tried to explain away why it was versus trying to take real measurable action. I think that's going to hang there. And I also think the exit from Afghanistan is going to hang over him as well. Look, that was not an agreement he made to exit Afghanistan. The execution of it, though, Andy, is on his watch, and I think that could have been done better. And I just feel like that's going to be over his head a little bit. So I mean, I think it was a meh 4 years, but I think the normalcy is what I appreciated the most.
Yeah, also with Afghanistan, like the execution was bad, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't think anybody can deny that. Like it looked bad, it was bad. Like the equipment, we let like there's just a lot of things that didn't go well.
Yeah.
But where I'll give him the credit is that he did it, right?
Yeah.
He did it, and whereas others had talked about it, nobody did it, right? I mean, Donald Trump talked about it. At the end of the day, he couldn't do it, right? And neither did his predecessors. Joe Biden like had to deal with complex geopolitical events, right? From Ukraine and Russia to Israel, Gaza. He kept America out of war, got us out of Afghanistan. To me, those are great credits to him, even though they weren't executed well. And of course, he gets responsibility for that. I look at our general leadership and our military leadership. They're like they should have done better. Like that should have been something that was planned and ready to go much better than it was. So there's a lot of shared failure in that, for sure. But the fact that we're no longer sitting in Afghanistan now, that there's a lot of problems in Afghanistan. Again, kind of go back to Trump and his negotiating with the Taliban, which is a disaster. We can get into all of that, but I give Biden credit for getting us the hell out because if he didn't, we'd still fucking be there. And
Yeah.
like that's the wrong answer.
Yeah. No, definitely agree. I'm with you there. Hey, Andy, let's do a couple around the world headlines here because there's been a lot going on in the world. So let's just hit some of these things, quick hitters. Andy, there appears to be a peace deal or a ceasefire in the Middle East
Yeah,
with Israel and Hamas, a prisoner exchange. This is a good thing, Andy. I think this is long time coming. I think for those families who still have hostages or there's prisoners out there, this has been a year and a half of a long, torturous ordeal for them. So I'm glad to see this happen. And this is a example. The incoming administration and the outgoing administration work together
yeah.
to get this thing through the finish line. So kudos for that partnership. Amazing what partnership can do, Andy, sometimes.
Yeah, and now they want to fight about who did it, right? And which is crazy. I mean, look, the whole mess in Israel and the broader region is exactly that. It's a mess. It was unnecessary. It's been too long and too violent. It's led to chaos and pain and suffering for so many people. Hopefully this can wrap up, right? There's no good wrap up. It just needs to wrap up. And Biden can take credit, Trump can take credit, blah, blah, blah. Like it just needs to end. And the poor people of the region just need to get to some level of normalcy. It's going to be awful still for a while because I mean the impact of what's happened over the last many months of war are going to have just such a lasting effect on so many people. But I'm glad that it's wrapping. Hopefully it does. And there's still some problems. Netanyahu's having a problem with his far right coalition. They're not supporting it, so it's kind of floating right now, like it should be happening, but it's not officially happening yet. Hopefully they can pull this off because like it needs to happen. It needs to happen. We need to move past this as a world. Israel needs to move past as a nation. The surrounding countries, need to move past it because there's chaos and violence for them. Like it needs to be done. So hopefully it comes together.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Andy, news came out yesterday. Trump has named Mel Gibson, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone special envoys, Andy, but not externally, special envoys to Hollywood.
Yeah.
What what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was so much bullshit. I mean, listen, the President of the United States shouldn't be focusing on what the hell's happening in Hollywood. I know that the White House has always tried to use Hollywood to advance its interests and propaganda, and I get that, but like with everything else going on in the world, like the president doesn't need to direct ambassadors. We can think about who they are, but like that's not the right focus to me, and I don't give a shit that who is envoys are, his special ambassadors to Hollywood, California are. They're going to keep an eye out for me. It's like that's not. Like, I don't want the president even suggesting that he's worried about what's happening in Hollywood and that he needs eyes in Hollywood. That's not his job. To me, it's nonsense, and it's kind of scary because people are excited about it. It's like, yeah, Trump's doing this. Like, that's not the president's role. So, like, to me, it's a
Um,
very like shitty thing. Let alone who it is. Like, I don't care who it is. I don't care what they're doing. It's just not the role of the White House.
so in a statement he wrote on his platform, and he said, "They will serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost so much business over the last 4 years to foreign
Yeah,
countries, and then in full caps, back, bigger,
back.
better, and stronger than ever before."
Yeah,
Andy, I think, Hollywood not being back, it's because like people are finding better opportunities in Atlanta, which is becoming a huge
huge.
place
Yeah,
for video promoting. The DC area is doing a lot of that work. Canada is doing a
yep,
lot of that work. There's a lot of other places now. Like Hollywood is, let's just be honest, it's fucking too expensive. Like there's too much stuff to go in there, and there's not enough like opportunity. Where are you going to film in those locations? Some
yeah,
of these other places are offering better tax breaks for businesses, and it's not foreign countries, Andy. It's like here within the United States. Like so, I think this is more about the Hollywood left, I think, and trying to flag on some of that. But yeah, you're right. I think it's a lot of it's not something the president should be worried about. And so there it is. But
yeah.
okay, Andy, let's go one more story here. SpaceX, we talked about this in the last couple things about last podcast about going to the moon and all this other stuff. There was a debris from a SpaceX rocket that disintegrated overnight. SpaceX is the one thing they have done tremendously well is they've been building out this platform. They have reusable rockets, Andy. That part worked successfully, so it launched. The piece fell back down to Earth and was successfully captured. However, the second part that released did it eventually disintegrate.
Yeah.
I think this is, I mean, one, there was no human loss here, but millions and millions of dollars, I'm sure, was lost. Is this a growing pain, or is this a sign of when there isn't regulations around certain things, this is what you're going to kind of get?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of touched on this earlier in the week where, like, I mean, like, I'm super excited about space, right? Whether it's, SpaceX, what they're doing, and I know right now there's a lot of hate for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, but look, the space mission is super exciting, right? And Blue Origin got their New Glenn rocket up, this week. Like, that's exciting stuff. But we do need to like manage it. It's big and it's dangerous stuff, and so there does need to be some maybe greater oversight and coordination, and we have to look at like the potential impacts of like when something doesn't come in safely, like who owns that, who's responsible for it, what are we doing? Like I don't know all the rules for space operations right now. I don't know if there are enough rules for space operations right now, but we do need to make sure it's being done in a safe manner because these are very big projectiles and they can have very catastrophic
Yeah.
effects if something goes sideways environmentally, violently. It's dangerous. So, I think it's something that we definitely need to sort of like lean into and make sure that we're properly thinking through great opportunities and advancements, but we do need to manage it, safely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this is some of the what we're going to see as we try to increase capabilities. Yeah, obviously, unfortunate, we never want to hear, but look back at the early stages of NASA and some of the successes or failures that were had there, and I think this is just part of that unfortunate process. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I want to see some of these happen. Sometimes I worry like, shouldn't we be focused more on what's happening here sometimes? But space exploration is important because we
Yeah.
need to be beyond here. So, okay, Andy, that wraps up a Friday. I'm a birthday Friday for me.
Birthday Friday, a major milestone birthday Friday, Dave. So again, I mean, good topics, good discussion, but most importantly, a very happy 50th birthday to you and yours. Are you celebrating? Are you painting Charlotte red this weekend to celebrate? Are they bringing out the red carpet for you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, Andy. I think I want to be low key. Like I've never like I like birthdays. I appreciate it. And my family does a great job. My wife does an amazing job. And it is special, like they're gonna make it special. But I've really asked to like I want to like disconnect. I want to be
Yeah,
like I want to do nothing because it's just been a grind some days and I'd love to, especially on a Friday. Like I'm exhausted from the
yeah, I'm
week.
with you.
I
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to go out to dinner anywhere. I want to just watch a good movie and eat some pizza some days. But my
Yeah.
wife's got something planned for later, so we'll see.
Well, it's exciting. I'm sure she'll celebrate you, and it's worth celebrating. Even if you're tired, it's worth taking a minute just to pause and appreciate. 50 years, and they've a lot of service to this nation in that time. Even now, as you work in, on the other side of the private sector, still serving to help our nation a lot of different ways. And so, again, happy birthday. Enjoy it. Yeah, yeah, happy. It's great. It's great. So, and Dave, enjoy some great football this weekend. I hope to
I
come
will.
back Monday in a Lions shirt, in a great mood, and ready for another week of NFL football. But to you and the listeners, like enjoy the best week in NFL football. This is it. This is it. Enjoy it. So we'll celebrate you. We'll celebrate the NFL. Happy Friday.
All right, Andy, a good way to wrap up, and I appreciate you and all of our listeners. So with that, I will catch up with you on Monday, Andy.